The moment recruits step off the bus at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, their civilian lives end. Drill instructors immediately seize personal items, issue uniforms, and enforce rigid protocols. This deliberate erasure of individuality marks the first step in breaking down the self. The transformation from I to we begins here, under the watchful eyes of those who will rebuild them. Drill instructors employ calculated psychological tactics, sleep deprivation, constant yelling, and impossible demands to push recruits beyond their limits. The goal isn't cruelty, but the destruction of ego. When a recruit's mental defenses crumble, only then can the Marine Corps rebuild them according to its exacting standards. This is where the old self begins to die. The training shifts to the body, grueling marches with heavy packs, obstacle courses designed to exhaust, and relentless physical conditioning. Pain becomes a constant companion, teaching recruits to push past what they believed were their limits. The body adapts, but more importantly, the mind learns to embrace suffering as a necessary part of their new existence. Every aspect of appearance is standardized: identical haircuts, uniforms, and even speech patterns. Recruits learn to respond with robotic precision. "Yes, sir," and "No, sir" become the only acceptable phrases. The message is clear: you are no longer a person, you are a Marine. Any lingering attachment to civilian identity is systematically eradicated. Drill instructors demand instant, unquestioning compliance. Recruits practice movements until they become automatic: rifle drills, marching, and responses to commands. Hesitation is punished. Perfect execution is rewarded. The goal is to rewire their instincts, ensuring they will obey orders in combat without thought or doubt. Recruits learn that individual success means nothing, only the unit matters. Tasks are designed so that failure by one means punishment for all. The lesson is brutal but effective. Survival depends on the group. Slowly, recruits begin to identify not as individuals, but as part of an unbreakable whole. Rifles are no longer tools, but extensions of the recruits' bodies. They disassemble, clean, and reassemble them blindfolded. Live fire exercises ingrain lethal precision. The Marine Corps doesn't just train shooters. It forges weapons that think, move, and act as one. The line between man and tool blurs. A 54-hour gauntlet of exhaustion, hunger, and relentless challenges, the Crucible separates those who break from those who are reborn. Recruits operate on minimal sleep, pushing through pain and mental fog. It's not just a test of skill, but of spirit. Those who finish are no longer recruits. They are Marines in waiting. In a solemn ceremony, recruits receive the eagle, globe, and anchor, the symbol of the Marine Corps. The drill instructors, once tyrants, now address them with respect. This moment marks their rebirth. The individuals who arrived weeks ago are gone. In their place stand warriors, forged in the fires of discipline and sacrifice. The graduation parade is a display of perfect uniformity. Rows of Marines moving as one, their faces unreadable. Families watch, some struggling to recognize their loved ones. The transformation is complete. What remains is no longer the person who arrived, but something far more dangerous. A Marine, a living weapon, a killing machine honed to perfection.